Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Whiskey Crusaders. We got Mark here from the global ambassador. Very excited to have him here. I know we're lucky to have Dr. Nick Savage here about 18 months ago, but they said, hey, Bladnoch came and put out a bunch of new expressions. So I'm like, well, I'm sure as heck gonna have them come out again. So that sounds awesome. So I'm gonna turn it over to Mark because he's listening. You guys are here, so let's tell us a little bit about yourself. We got the industry and all that good stuff, and then we'll get into all these awesome expressions.
Well, first of all, thank you so much, Matt, for having me here, and it's great to be in Texas. And I've been in the US now for about 3 weeks now. I've got maybe about a week and a half to go of my US trip, and like Bladnoch, we've got a real big focus at the moment of sort of like looking after and investing in our US market.
We appreciate it.
There's so much opportunity out here, and you guys seem to love our liquid.
We do.
As you've already said, Nick has been out here a few times, had a seriously good reception, so they want to continue that on. So that's why I'm here.
Awesome.
And as I said, a little bit of an introduction. Yes, my name is Mark. I am the global brand ambassador for Bladnoch, and how did I get into this position? Well, that's a story.
It's a great story.
So my sort of like whiskey education probably started a good few years ago, mainly like most Scotsmen, probably through their fathers, and trying whiskies at home. My dad had a fantastic whiskey selection, not only just of Scotch, but like a few others from around the world, but started off with predominantly a lot of like Speysides, a lot of like sherry influenced whiskies, and then fast forward a few years, I end up moving down to London for university.
Okay.
And I get a sort of like part-time job working at Soho Whiskey Club.
Very cool. It's a hell of a place to get a part-time job.
Yeah, I know, right?
That's awesome.
So they had about 650 open whiskies.
Very cool.
And they did have some Bladnoch in there, but for me, being a fan, not quite enough. So I kept on saying to the general manager, who was George and then eventually moved on to Tony, we need to get more in. And then I said, once we had more in, and I was recommending it at the bars quite often, I said, we need to get somebody down to do a tasting.
There you go.
And Tony got in contact with Bladnoch, and they brought down Dr. Nick Savage himself, which was fantastic.
Pretty awesome.
Indeed. And about halfway through the tasting, we had like what we call a disco break, essentially where we allow people to go to the loo, go up to the bar, get another drink. It's nothing to do with discos at all.
Why do they call it a disco break?
It's just, I've never asked.
Oh, okay. I've never heard that term.
It's just in the UK, it seems to be quite common. Maybe some of the people watching can maybe message in afterwards. And tell us.
Tell us in the comments.
Why is it called a disco break?
I have no clue.
Or unless it's maybe new to you guys as well. Who knows? So during that little break, I went up to Nick and I said, look, it's great that you came down all the way from the distillery. Really honored to have you here. But shouldn't you be up at the distillery making all those important decisions? Where's your brand ambassador? Why aren't they here doing the tasting? And his response was, well, we don't have a brand ambassador in the UK. So I automatically said, do you want one?
It's a good answer.
And I got a job interview the next day, and I started a few years ago working for Bladnoch.
That's awesome.
Kind of started off as like London, UK brand ambassador. Then they slowly started throwing me into Europe to go to like a few whiskey festivals, whiskey shows, supporting some of the markets that are really doing really well for us out in Europe, and obviously those growing markets as well. And now we're sort of like a few years into me being the BA for Bladnoch. We're now in America. So,
there you go.
So that's kind of how I started off at Bladnoch, and here we are.
This is your first time in Texas?
First time in Texas.
Awesome.
Yeah, everything is bigger in Texas. And it was funny, like, because obviously we've now moved on to the 700ml bottles.
Right.
So I've been going around. You might have seen on social media with my little miniature Vinaya.
That's awesome.
So we've got this one, and obviously the normal Vinaya is 700 mils, but we obviously used to do, I'll just put that up again so people can see. We used to do the 750 ml bottles, and my colleague, who's Bridget from our distributor, she does have a 750 ml bottle. So we're going to do sort of like daddy, mummy, and baby.
That's hilarious.
But we've not got around to doing that yet, but we'll find time before I leave Texas. So yes, and also just whilst I'm here, I do have a few of these.
Awesome.
I want to give you one.
Yeah, awesome. I've never seen a mini of Bladnoch. So very
I've
cool.
also got one of these to give you as well, which is a sort of like a little Bladnoch pin badge.
Oh, those are cool.
So that's
those
for you.
Are fancy. I like that.
Just a little.
That's very cool.
Little thank you for having
awesome.
me and supporting our brand as much as you guys do. Which is awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah, I know. We were talking earlier, seeing the place that you guys do a blend that Bladnoch is the base for. That's one of our best in our classes, best moving blends we have in here. We've had it been refilled by Bridget because it's so good. So yeah, it's fun to tell people they don't like blends. Well, you've had a good blend before, and so they find that it's quite nice.
So yeah, so talking about that blend, it's Pure Scott. Pure Scott started a good few years ago. Before we actually started with like the new decanter style bottles.
Those are fancy. I mean, I'll tell you this: I'm gonna bar fight and grab one of your bottles.
Yeah, exactly.
Things are weapons.
Yeah, I know. Well, as a brand ambassador, I'm like shifting these about the place. You don't want to drop these on your toes.
That's gonna end poorly.
But yeah, so Pure Scott, they're a blend of whiskies from the 4 main whiskey regions of Scotland. Now, obviously, there's 5 whiskey regions of Scotland. You've got Lowlands, Highlands, Speyside, Islay, and Campbelltown. But with there being only about 3 distilleries in Campbelltown, it's really difficult to get our hands on any of the liquid from that region. So yeah, we've got the different flavor profiles that you get from the Lowlands, the sort of light floral notes, maybe some of the green apples. Then the Highlands, maybe a little bit more on a spicier note. And then Speyside, obviously, use a lot of Oloroso sherry maturation, so a bit richer and sweeter. And then that smokiness you get from Islay, we have a little bit of that in there as well. So it kind of feels like you're tasting all of Scotland in the one bottle.
Right, which is really cool.
Yeah. And it's also got like quite a high percentage of malted barley,
which we appreciate.
Yeah, so it gives it a little.
Goes back to the old days of making blends, which is one reason makes it good.
Sure, yeah.
Because how many different? Are you allowed to say how many different distilleries are in that?
So when I've asked Nick, he does tend to keep those things slightly closer to his chest. So I've asked and I've not been told.
Okay.
So
maybe someday he'll tell you.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll keep asking until we get some kind of answer.
I just need to feed him quite a few more.
There you go. I find that works out well.
I mean, the thing is, he is very professional, and usually when he's doing his tastings, he's doing what I'll be doing today, which is just like the sort of the finger dipping. That's how he sort of like does the tastings, because he's maybe a little bit more professional than I am.
He wants to be a proper gentleman.
Exactly. But yeah, it's we've obviously got the signature of the Pure Scott, and then on top of that we've got the Virgin Oak, which is we take the signature and then we put it into Virgin Oak barrels for a further year to kind of get the sort of like creamy vanilla notes that you get from sort of like US Virgin Oak barrels. And so that makes it a little bit softer, creamier, a little bit lighter and sweeter. Awesome. And then with the Midnight Peat, that one's kind of does what it says on the tin. We put it on in Islay barrels for a further year, giving it a little bit more of that peat smoke element to it. And you know what? They're cracking as they are, but they also work really well. And in the cocktails, we've had sort of like smoky old fashions. We've had whiskey sours. We did an event a few weeks ago in Vegas where they had that in pretty much about 3 of their cocktails. Nice. So that was really cool. And it was a great little event.
I know tonight we're doing Blood and Sand here, so that's going to be fun with that.
So should we go on to talk?
We should go about
a little bit about Bladnoch. Yeah. So yes.
How long have they been around? No, they're quite old.
They are quite old, as you can see on the bottle. 1817. You might not be able to see. It might be a little bit blurry. There we go. So 1817 is when Bladnoch was founded. It was the farm was making whiskey before 1817, and that wasn't uncommon. There was a few people making whiskey illegally.
Just a few.
Just one or two. And then 1817 they got their license, and it was the McClelland brothers, the McClelland farm. And in the 1800s, they really sort of like skyrocketed the production volume. They got to producing up to about 250,000 liters a year.
Jeez.
And which like that's
a lot back then.
That's
a
like
lot.
there's like distilleries in Scotland that are not making that much these days, you know.
That's wild.
So yeah, that was why back in the 1800s,
Good reason.
we got the nickname the Queen of the Lowlands.
No, it's fair.
And then the 1900s, that's when things go a little bit more topsy-turvy, fluctuates. We were bought by an Irish drinks company called Dunville & Co.
Oh, okay.
They had us for roughly about 25 years.
Okay.
Shortly after, they went into liquidation for the Bladnoch distillery. So Bladnoch was shut. The distillery was then bought by two guys from Glasgow, Ross and Coulter. They came down. They didn't want to make any whiskey though.
Okay.
They wanted to buy the distillery and dismantle all the equipment.
Oh no.
They sold off the stills to a Swedish distillery, of all places.
Really?
Swedish.
That's wild.
I know. And so it was a distillery called Skepits.
Okay.
And they sort of started off making a little bit of whiskey, and they had lots of potatoes in that area, so they were not, you know what, let's kind of like maybe go down the vodka route.
Yeah.
Fast forward a few years, that distillery ended up becoming Absolute Vodka.
Really?
So we have had Bladnoch stills making Absolute Vodka, and they only used two of the stills. They had a third, and that third still you can now find in the Stockholm Wine and Spirits Museum.
Oh, that's very cool.
It's cool that we've got a still which is in a museum.
That is wild.
And because of that, this is information Nick has passed on to me. We do have some New Make Spirit in one of our warehouses, which is in Swedish oak casks. Don't know when that's going to come out.
That sounds very cool.
Yeah, but we just thought, like, with that sort of like little cool Swedish connection that we've got there, let's do something that's a bit fun, a bit different.
Yeah.
And you know what? I don't know when it's going to come out myself. I'm looking forward to when it does.
Yeah. Have you got a chance to try it, or you haven't let you try it yet?
I've not tried it just yet. Okay. But whenever those samples get into Nick's sample room, I'll be knocking on his door.
Absolutely.
Being like, Nick, let me in.
Exactly.
It's time to try. So that's a cool part of our history.
That's very cool. I did not know that.
And then in the later 1900s, we get up to the point where the distillery was owned by two guys from Northern Ireland.
Okay.
It was mainly one of them. It was Raymond Armstrong.
Okay.
But his brother Colin was sort of like a silent partner, helped financially to get the purchase of the distillery. And it was about 94 they purchased it. And Raymond was actually a property developer beforehand.
Oh, all right.
And he had the idea of buying the distillery and turning it into holiday flats.
No.
Thankfully.
That sounds horrible.
Thankfully, maybe somebody had a little whisper in his ear,
Thank
or
God.
I don't know what, but thankfully he changed his mind.
That's a good thing.
And turned it back into a distillery.
Okay.
And because of the direct previous owners, happened to be a little company you might have heard of called Diageo.
I have heard of them.
They put a limit on anyone who was going to buy the distillery after them, that they were only going to be allowed to produce, I think it was roughly about 150,000 litres a year, which is quite low.
Yeah, that's small.
So what Raymond decided to do because of that was he created what was called the Bladnoch Forum, which was almost like basically an independent bottling at Bladnoch. So he'd
Okay.
buy in barrels from all over Scotland.
Interesting.
One that I remember in particular that they had was a Kalila, and it was
Nice.
just sort of like bottled in a Bladnoch bottle, not this kind of
Yeah, the
style,
other kind,
but
yeah.
previous kind of style of Bladnoch bottle, and bottled at Bladnoch, kind of like an independent bottler, and then they started releasing in about 2000, and then there was a few sort of like interesting things that they did in their time of ownership, and one which is a little bit on the crazy side, especially for a Lowlands, is they decided that in the year 2009 they were only going to make peated whiskey, peated spirit.
Really?
Peated spirit for the whole year, excuse me, of 2009,
Okay.
all peated.
That's wild.
It's bonkers for a Lowlands distillery, but we love him for that.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Means that we've got loads of single casks
Yeah,
from 2009
bet you
peated
do.
that kind of go into some of our peated collections that we release every so often.
That's really cool.
We've had some really exciting ones as well. We've had some bourbon casks, sherry. They're quite standard, but the slightly more interesting ones, rum, Hungarian, Tokai.
Oh yeah.
They're slightly more interesting. I tasted them, did a tasting last year with some Hungarian Tokai
It's very
peated
cool.
casks from 09, and it was a really
That
interesting
sounds
flavor. That
super fun.
rich sweetness with that sort of like nice smoky peat worked together really, really quite
I
well.
bet it did.
And then, unfortunately, it was kind of due to the financial crisis that happened in 08 that eventually Bladnoch Distillery was no longer able to exist. And we got our current owner, David Pryor. He bought us in 2015.
Okay.
And he's an Aussie. And he has always loved whiskey, him and his dad, Malcolm. And they came over. They were actually looking to sort of like purchase a piece of land and build their own distillery. Okay. And I think they were looking at plots of land up in the Highlands, from what I've been told.
Yeah, just slightly far away.
I know. And then they obviously heard of Bladnoch up for sale. And when David came down, I believe that in an interview with David Pryor, he said that he's only fallen in love 3 times. First of all, with his wife, then with his baby daughter, and then when he landed at the Bladnoch farm, distillery. It was obviously a farm a couple of 100 years ago, but obviously distillery. So yeah, bought it. Took a while to get things up and running. There was a couple of changes. The previous 2 stills were a little bit knackered, so we got rid of those. We got 4 new stills. It was 2 wash and 2 spirit. And so even though like sort of like getting in new stills, you think that might change up the new make, we were kind of aiming to create a style of new make very much in the same flavor. Maybe just making it a little bit more efficiently, a bit cleaner. And the new make you can actually get in many bottles at the distillery. Is a bit of a sort of like distillery exclusive.
Those are super rare to find in Scotch in general. Is new make. Almost never see it.
And it's got like that nice creamy, a little bit pear drop. It's super delicious. And because these days we actually do a peated expression, which we'll talk about a little bit more in detail later, called the Alinta. That now means that we do a peated spirit run each year ourselves.
Oh, nice.
So we buy in peated barley, and we do that peated spirit run for 4 weeks, usually in October time. And that will go into our Alinta. We've also got a slightly more exclusive one. It's not available in all markets. It's called the Alinta Reserve. I think the 2023 release of that was super stunning. It was matured just in Amontillado sherry casks, and it was great. From my memory, I think it was smoky ice cream with a nutty finish.
That sounds great.
It just sounds naughty.
Really,
which, you know, I have sampled it at a few whiskey shows, and some people's response have been like, "Wow, that's
the right response." It sounds really great. Hey, Alan, good to see you there. He's over now in the UK. Eric's on his way.
Nice one. So do you want to, whilst we're here, should we taste some of these?
We should definitely. I know we poured prior to excited with the 17 in here, an old one, but they have a new thing on. Let's talk about the brown one on the market that just got here. Let's talk about the 8.
The 8, beautiful. So the 8-year-old here, I'll just the lighting. There we go. Just adjust there slightly. This is 8 years old. Very special. It has been out in the UK market just a little while.
Okay.
Been very successful. And the reason this is quite important is because this is the first age statement from start to finish under David Pryor's time of being owner.
That's very cool. All
because the previous aged expressions, they would have came from, say, Raymond's time or even before then.
Okay.
When it comes to sort of like things like the 30-year-old.
Sure.
More exclusive. So 8 years, double matured in American red wine casks. Now, the red wine casks we use, predominantly from California, mixture of Cab Sav and Zinfandel.
Okay.
Zinfandel, you maybe get a little bit more of that rich sweetness. Mm-hmm. The Cab Sav, maybe a little bit more of that drier, earthy quality.
Okay.
And the reason we've double matured this, and when talking about this, it's only right that where did the 17 go?
Oh, right there.
There we go. Yes. So the 17, this came out fairly fresh when we relaunched in 2017, and this was 17 years exclusively in Californian red wine.
Okay.
So very kind of similar ideas, and it seemed like the 8-year-old was the 17-year-old, sorry, was the sort of like the inspiration behind the 8. Just because of the success of this, the popularity of this one. And we've double matured this one because after maybe about 2 to 3 years, the flavor that you're going to extract from those barrels is kind of going to plateau off a little bit.
Sure.
So it gets to about 4 years, and we put it in fresh red wine casks to extract even more oomph of that juicy red wine influence. And with this one, I need to figure out, I think, yeah, this is it here. Cilantro. Super jammy.
Mm-hmm.
And then
what I like about it, it's kind of got not this like a sulfur of like a sherry, but it's got a little bit down that path if you do like a sherry scotch. This is very nice for that. What's amazing too is you guys are, I think it's also really cool and brave. You guys have an 8-year age statement.
Yeah.
Most would never do that. That's a single digit. I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
And it's also super transparent what you're doing.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
I mean, I think it's also really kind of cool because this is really going to show you what like our age statements are going to be like in years to come.
Yeah. At 8 years old, this is fantastic. I can't imagine what it's going to be like when it's 10 years from now. Holy crap.
It's 46.7 ABV.
That helps a lot too.
Yeah. And like, even though it's super dark, just look at the color and that.
For an 8-year-old,
yeah,
so
and
absurd.
we do not add in any color.
No color. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's
gorgeous.
All Bladnoch, baby.
That's right.
And yeah, it's super jammy. The tasting notes that are obviously our master distiller Nick Savage, he writes on the strawberries, jam, and a little bit of herbal. Now, when I'm saying herbal, Bridget's in the room. She's going to laugh at me because.
Did you think he said hairball?
Well, that's it. My Scottish accent over here. I do need to clarify. I've actually in Texas, I've gone from saying herbal to saying it's herbaceous. So people can understand what I'm saying.
Oh, that's funny.
People thought I was saying Haribo. People thought I was saying hairball, like a cat's hairball. It's like, so the Scottish accent has still got a little bit of tweaking to do before the Texans can understand me, you know. But yeah, it's super fun and it's a beautiful dram.
Yeah, it's really good. Super impressed.
Yeah. And also, you'll have noticed with this one here that it's got the white label with the black digit for the 8 and the black Bladnoch B. we are going to be sort of like doing slight changes with our
Okay.
Galloway collection. Galloway being our age statements,
Okay.
bold being our non-aged,
Okay. Okay.
and then we've got a spirited, so bold Galloway Spirit,
Okay.
kind of like a hashtag line at Bladnoch there for you. The spirited being like the 30, the exclusives, a little bit more
yeah.
like distillery rare expressions. So we've actually got, we've had it maybe since about November time out in the UK market. So this is a 13-year-old.
Oh, it's another new one.
It has been out for a while, but the actual labeling we've changed. So you'll start seeing like the labels are all going to be going for the age statements to these beautiful white labels and the black digits, just to make it pop a little bit more, make it stand out. But the liquid for the 13 staying the same as the previous like label version of it, but this one I really want to sort of like have a little taste of this.
Yeah, because like I said, they're all new to us. So
I mean, this one here, when I know we've got like the 10-year-olds just behind us here now. Previous generations of Bladnoch have used a lot of bourbon barrels, so the Bladnoch fans that have sort of like followed Bladnoch over the years, when the 10-year-old was released, that was almost a little bit of an icon. And like the Bladnoch fans, they super loved the 10-year-old.
Sure.
That kind of almost graduated into the 11-year-old, and has now, because the stock of that in the warehouse has now graduated 2 more years. We've got the 13 on here.
Nice.
So it's just bourbon barrels. Super delicious, and this one really rings true to a lot of those sort of Bladnoch fans that love something really kind of traditional Bladnoch style.
Cool. Hey, Donald, good to see you there from Canada. Yeah, we got them all over the world tonight.
Beautiful. That's what I want to hear. And this one, as I say, just matured in bourbon barrels. You can see on the screen there just how light it is.
It's significantly lighter, than the 8, which is wild.
Yeah.
This ex-bourbon commercial wine just makes a huge difference in your
color.
I mean, it's not even close.
Dark. You can barely see through the 8-year-old.
Yeah.
You can kind of see through the 13 there. And this one, getting some of that honey and citrus influence.
Yes.
Now there is one tasting note that Nick likes to talk about with this one, and it's a confectionery that you don't necessarily get in the US. So it does say it on the bottle, and I do have to kind of explain it when I'm in front of like sort of like US audiences, or sometimes even in front of like some of the European audiences are like, what's Parma Violets? Have you ever heard of Parma Violets?
I got no clue what that is.
So Parma Violets are kind of like these sort of like purple little disc kind of sweeties or like lollies. And they've got almost a subtle kind of lavendery, kind of blueberry. They're sort of like lilac color, hence the name Parma Violets. And you definitely do get it on the nose. So if you do find yourself in the UK, you get yourself some Parma Violets.
See, next time you come back, I have to bring us some so we can compare.
Certainly. I think there may even be some certain online shops. I won't name any, but you can probably Google which ones they might be, but that's where I got mine from.
Okay, yeah, because now you say those notes, you can definitely smell them, and that's wild. Yeah, interesting.
And you can see just how light the whiskey is. You get a huge influence of the new make coming through.
Absolutely.
So those floral notes really come through, which you get, which I find is really quite apt, that you find those floral notes in a lot of our expressions, especially because the name Bladnoch is an old Scots Gaelic word, which means the place of the flowers.
Oh, that's cool.
And just sort of like talking for those who don't know where Bladnoch geographically is located, we're right at the bottom of Scotland, the most southern distillery in Scotland, but it's not that part that's kind of like connected to England here, Scotland here. It's a little bit further west, almost as if like you're going to be getting the ferry to Northern Ireland, that part of Scotland on the southwest coast. And we're based on the River Bladnoch.
Okay.
Obviously, the namesake. And where we're situated, that part of the river, we don't actually get our water from that part of the distillery,
Okay.
because we're about 10-minute drive away from the south coast. So that part of the river is still coastal.
Okay.
So we go maybe about half an hour drive further inland.
Wow.
And there's a reservoir body of water called Loch Mabry, which also happens to be the name of one of our sort of like exclusives, distillery exclusives. And that is sort of like the reservoir there. There's a little sort of like separation where the river will come down. And then we've also got, a little lade, which is like a man-made stream that runs parallel to the river all the way down to where the distillery is, and gets cleaned and purified before we can use it in the whiskey making process. So yeah, it's really cool.
That's wild.
We need to obviously clean and purify.
Would be best.
Make sure there's no sheep wee in it or anything like that.
There's always a little bit in everything, right? There's an acceptable amount in everything.
Yeah, I mean, there's extra flavoring, right?
That's right, exactly. It's funny you say that. We've got people that bring a sheep dung whiskey that's been peated with. That's essentially peated with sheep dung.
Oh, right. Well, sheep dung is kind of like organic materials. You can kind of argue that could be like the sort of the natural peat. Those almost falling into the flora and fauna category.
Right. Yeah, something like that. Exactly.
Yeah. Now, I know we've kind of like not been going in a sort of like
it's all good
flowing line, but I don't think I could be on this podcast without talking about the Vinaya.
Of course,
we've obviously talked about the Vinaya.
Yes,
in the miniature form.
Right.
But this one here is our signature expression.
There you go.
And when Bladnoch sort of relaunched in 2017, we were wanting to come up with a whiskey that really summed up what a Lowlands whiskey was, and what say Bladnoch was kind of known for. Now, Lowlands, you know yourself, they're kind of known for those light, floral, fresh green apples, maybe some of that fresh cut grass notes, and really sums it up in here. It's a mixture of Oloroso sherry and ex-bourbon barrels.
Okay.
There we go. So it's not 50-50 with the Oloroso and the bourbon.
Okay.
It's approximately about 70% bourbon, about 30% Oloroso, just so you can almost get that balance of flavors, because Oloroso obviously being stronger in flavor.
Right.
Kind of wanted to make sure, again, a little bit like the 13, that new make spirit was going to be coming through as well.
Right.
And so floral, really fresh. And I think this one as well, especially we've got a big US audience, US following. For any sort of like maybe bourbon drinkers out there, I think this is that's maybe a little bit hesitant about Scotch. This is a really good sort of like gateway into Scotch. Goes down so gently, silky. And with the Lowlands in general, now in the past, you have had some distilleries in the Lowlands that have triple distilled. We have not. Need some water there.
Yep. Wrong pipe.
Yeah. So we've not triple distilled ourselves, but we still kind of aim for that slightly softer, gentle style that you kind of find with triple distillation.
Right.
The way we do that is like a long fermentation process, quite a long, slow.
How long is your fermentation?
About up to 70 hours.
Okay, so yes.
And the distillation process, when you get to the top of our stills, the line arm on some distilleries will almost kind of go diagonally down straight away.
Right.
Ours gets to the top, then it goes horizontal for a while, so it's got extra time with that copper contact making it sort of like softer, more
Very
gentle. And then it will go down into sort of one of those condensers, you know, and sort of like turn it into our new make.
Very
So
cool.
yeah,
I guess Donald said they had a very nice Australian whiskey club of a Bladnoch Ember down there.
right,
So
nice.
very nice.
Oh, this
This is very nice.
sometimes I have heard Nick refer to, and sometimes I've even copied him when I've been doing tastings, refer to this as his breakfast whiskey.
There you go.
Yeah,
you put it in some oatmeal or porridge or something. It'd be delicious.
Yeah.
Instead of water, use this.
Yeah. Obviously saying please do drink responsibly.
Yeah, of course.
But yes, it's
Adds a little extra flavor.
oh yeah, certainly, 100%. That's tasting beautiful tonight.
Absolutely.
Pop that there just because we do have a few more to talk about.
Safeties.
Yeah.
And we also have a whole night here. So if you are coming down here, of course, the masterclass is this evening. So if you're lucky enough to get to join us, you'll be seeing this in a little bit.
And I maybe need a few waters in between.
I think that's definitely going to happen.
Now, obviously, I forgot to mention with the 13-year-old, last year we did submit this to the World Whiskey Awards, and it won the best Lowland single malt.
Awesome.
Which we were really proud of. That was near the end of the year. We won that accolade for that.
Very cool.
Start of the year, we submitted the 16-year-old for the same award. The 16-year-old is just matured in Oloroso sherry barrels. And this one, so this one also won the same award in the same award ceremony, the World Whiskey Awards. So both of these are gold winners in Lowlands.
Very cool.
For the Lowland single malt category.
That's awesome.
So I think it's only right that we now taste some awards winning.
This is the other new one. So
the other.
The good news is, like I said, they got all these new ones out too. So these are totally different than we had, like say 18 months ago.
Of course.
I like Donald says that a crowdy oatcakes and Bladnoch for breakfast sounds like a good breakfast.
Oh
yes, it does.
yeah.
So this is 100% Oloroso.
100% Oloroso sherry, 16 years.
Yeah, it smells great.
Now, some viewers may have seen the 14-year-old, and I think we've even got the 14-year-old up there from
that we do.
The last time Nick was here, and he actually signed that.
Sure did.
So the 14-year-old is slowly going to be discontinued. The 16-year-old is almost the replacement. The reason being the stocks in the warehouse now aged up, so we're accurately changing it.
Yeah, makes sense.
But just to sort of like talk about the sort of like subtle differences that you actually get between the 14 and the 16.
Interesting.
The 14-year-old is giving a little bit more on that sort of dark chocolate side of Oloroso. Really, really stunning. Very, very popular. The 16s maybe more down the sort of like the kind of Christmas spices. So maybe getting a little bit more of that cinnamon, star anise, a little bit of the cloves. But one thing that I really love about quite a few of our expressions at Bladnoch is you do get a subtle dryness at the back of the tongue.
Agree.
Slightly tannic, but I just think that really helps with the longevity. And when I taste this one, sometimes I'm like walking down the street 20 minutes later and it's like, oh, right, yeah, there's that Bladnoch 16 still hanging around.
Nice. It's awesome.
But yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah. Get a lot of that coffee just on the mouth. Oh, yeah, it's super, super yummy. Doesn't that just look good?
There you go. See, it fits perfect. Exactly.
Fits perfectly. Amazing.
Very nice.
Yeah. Have you had any favorites out of the ones that we've tried so far?
The 16 is pretty great.
16's certainly up there. Now, have you ever tried our 19-year-old?
I think once before, but let's do it again.
Yeah. For
science.
Exactly. Science.
Plus, I love the top on that thing. It's just so pretty.
Doesn't that look? It's not the right way around.
There you go.
It's beautiful. I mean, instead of that pin badge, we just pop.
There you go.
Just pop that on your top.
Except for the fact it'll tear your shirt. It's so yeah, exactly. It was beautiful.
Yeah. Like if you get a few more of the 30-year-olds over.
There you go.
Other than like this one's quite heavy.
But the 30-year-old
is solid brass.
Oh my gosh!
You put that that could break windows.
Yeah.
You put it in your hand, and you're maybe expecting it to be like the weight of this, and you're like, boom.
Wow, that's wild.
Now, this 19-year-old, 100% PX. Pedro Jimenez. Now, when I've been at some whiskey shows, letting people taste this, I tell them that it's 100% PX, and people are like, hold on a second, you're not going to be able to taste the whiskey in there. You're only going to be able to taste the PX. I beg to differ with this one.
Yeah, as long as you do it right, that's all that
matters.
Yeah. I have confidence that Dr. Nick Savage did it just fine. Oh, it smells wonderful. Holy crap.
So this is the 19, and obviously you can see that this is we've not got the newest label out on this one. We've got the sort of the dark red on the black label, but still just stunning.
It's beautiful. So Eric wants to know, is it Spanish oak or if it's European oak or?
So yeah, this will be Spanish
oak. Okay.
Yeah.
So Eric, you'll love it because he's a Spanish oak fiend. So
yep. Beautiful.
Oh my gosh.
Get some of the dried apricots, maybe some of the dark licorice.
Oh. Yeah, this beautiful dark chocolate in there too.
A bit of nutmeg.
Wow.
So yummy. So this one here, I kind of have this as my sort of after dinner sitting It's that sort of typical stereotype. I won't be the first brand ambassador to say it. I won't be the last.
Right. It's like dessert whiskey.
Sitting in a wingback chair with your buddy next to an open fireplace.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're in Scotland. It's probably peeing down with rain outside.
Right.
You're getting warm. You're putting the worlds to right. You've maybe even got a cigar.
Yeah, absolutely. And your cigar's going to be amazing.
You're sipping on a whiskey that when you sip it,
wow.
It just makes you stop.
Yeah.
Makes you stop and think.
Special. Yeah, I bet people smoke that with cigars on a regular basis.
Yeah.
That's pretty great.
Yeah. So this is a bit of a special one. I was actually at the liquor library last night.
Yeah. Daniel's awesome. Good
Yep, Daniel's he was super supportive. He's got a great range of our liquid there. And there was maybe about
There's
five
there.
Hi there.
Someone say Spanish show.
There was maybe about, I think it was about 4 or 5 people that bought the 19.
I don't doubt it.
With the 19, they were like, somebody here from the distillery, we need your signature on the box. And I personally never signed any boxes before, any bottles, so it was a new experience for me. But if anyone happens to be wanting the same again tonight,
I have no doubt you're going to get to sign a lot of bottles tonight.
I believe there are some sort of gold or silver Sharpies back of house there for me.
Absolutely there are.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
this is ridiculous.
So that one is a bit of a stunner.
Yeah, makes you sit around for quite some time with it. That's a special whiskey.
Liquid raisins.
Yeah, there's a good note. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That is incredible stuff.
Now, when it comes to especially the 19 is one where I can't with some of the others. I sort of pour myself some, and if being sensible, I just put a little bit into the spittoon with the 19.
Yeah, we both finished it. With the recipe on it,
I just can't. So
no,
I'm not saying
rude.
I'm not saying the 19's better. It's one
special.
It just makes you stop and
really good.
Yeah.
Holy crap!
Now you know how I talked about in 2009 we had our previous owner, Raymond Armstrong, who he he had a crazy idea of just making peated spirit for the whole year.
Yeah, which is
as I
wild.
said, we thank him for that, and that has resulted in the Alinta.
Awesome.
Now, the name Alinta, we have already mentioned that our current owner, David Pryor, he is from Australia, and the name Alinta is an Aboriginal Australian word.
Okay.
Now, like when it comes to sort of like naming sort of like non-age statements, a lot of Scottish distilleries will use Scots Gaelic. And
Sure.
you know what? I don't want to say it's been done to death, but a lot it has. It's been
It's
done.
only so many words.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, we chose Alinta, and it means fire and flames.
Oh, okay.
And
Very
that
cool.
kind of gives you a little bit of an idea on the sort of like style of peat that we use in here, because it's not peat from Isla.
Okay.
The peat from Isla tends to be a little bit more of that iodine, TCP, maybe a little bit medicinal. When I've been talking to people in the US, it'd be like Band-Aids.
Right. They just don't
kind of-
understand. There's other peat out there.
Yeah, of course. So this is peat from mainland Scotland, Aberdeenshire, and mainland Scotland. The makeup of the peat is going to be different flora and fauna.
Right.
And here it's slightly stronger, this one, rather than the rest of them, predominantly being at 46.7. We put this one just up to 47 on the dot.
Oh, okay.
Just so, like Nick was saying, you can sort of like get a little bit more access to that kind of peat smoke.
Okay. Interesting.
And we've obviously, you get that smoky campfire influence kind of from the peat rather than the Isla style. And we've matured this one here in a mixture of PX and bourbon.
Okay.
So sort of like sweet on one side, smoky on the other. Sum up this one like a smoky creme brulee.
Oh, there you go.
It's just so great on the nose. And when I've been sort of like sampling this, especially last night in the whiskey library, some of the feedback was, yeah, you get that sort of like smoky and sweetness, but being here in Texas, what did it remind people of?
Barbecue.
Texas barbecue.
Yeah, it reminds me of like cigar wrapper.
Mm.
I guess Dylan says he's curious about the wave releases.
The wave releases, yeah. So the wave, that was a sort of like a new idea from Nick that followed on from the Waterfall series.
Oh, okay.
The Waterfall series was a series that we did, a release a year over 5 years, and it kind of sort of like followed a little bit of a Solero kind of style, Waterfall kind of style, taking a little bit from the previous cask, putting it into the next cask, only a limited number of releases. And we kind of wanted to do something, well, this is all obviously Nick, our master distiller's idea. He is the brainchild behind the wave, and it started actually a few years before the end of Waterfall.
Oh, okay.
Because Nick was approached with these 5 Amontillado sherry tons.
Oh, okay.
So tons, I believe they're between like 1,000, 1,500 liters tons. So big casks.
Barrels,
And for anyone who does like sort of like tours around the Bladnoch distillery, like when you go into warehouse number 2, which is sort of like, it's almost like the showstopper warehouse. That's where you go in. We've got a cask in there signed by the King and
that's
Queen.
Cool. Very cool.
So King Charles and Queen Camilla. Mainly because I'm going off on a little bit of a tangent here. I go off on many tangents.
It happens. It's whiskey.
But so when in 2019 we opened the visitor center, he was only Prince then, Prince Charles and Camilla. They came to the distillery and cut the ribbon, and
nice.
we sort of like gifted them a cask. So we got them to sign it. I'm not sure what this means by the status in the relationship, but Camilla got the pen first. She signed it first, and then we've got King Charles's signature on there as well. So that will be a cask that like it'll be down to Buckingham Palace whenever they decide
That's cool.
that they want to release it, and it will be in these sort of like Bladnoch style bottles, not a peated smoky Alinta bottle, but
Yeah.
it will be in a Bladnoch bottle. We don't know when that is. It'll be a decision for them.
Sure.
They might want to get a few more years on it.
Sure.
Give it a little bit of age. And yeah, so that will be like probably a King's release at some point.
Cool.
It's going to be super cool, which is a nice little special note. But going back, retrieving from that tangent and going back to where it was the 5 Amontillado sherry tons. The idea for that happened a few years before the end of Waterfall.
Okay.
And Nick was offered these. He was like, no idea what I'm going to do with them, but let's just say yes, and then figure out ideas of what to do afterwards with them. So what he's kind of decided to do, and I'll talk to you a little bit about, say, for example, the Waterfall 1 release. We have done the second one, but I was actually on a tasting with Nick. It was like an online tasting with fans around the world, and it was sort of like a deconstruction of wave number 1. And what that really was there was some whiskey over the generations of Bladnoch. There was some whiskey from, I believe it was 1991 or 1992, the early 90s. There was some whiskey from the early noughties. I want to say it was maybe about 02 time. Some whiskey from 08. And then there was 2017 and 2018 whiskey in there as well. So sort of like whiskey over the generations, all in this one cask. They were all bourbon barrels from those different generations, and then kind of like put into this one beautiful Amontillado sherry ton. I mean, I guess when it's a ton that size, it's not really doing a lot of maturation at that size, but it's there to sort of like rest and sort of like settle together. And so that's kind of like the idea behind the wave. And as I said, all of those barrels that were chosen from the different generations were all bourbon. We're going to do like a different style choice for each year of the wave releases. So I hope that answers the wave questions there. And I'm still tasting that.
Yeah.
It's a beauty.
That is beautiful. Absolutely.
And I think just going back to the Alinta, whenever I've been at sort of like whiskey festivals or whiskey shows, tends to be like maybe say 3 people come up to the stand all at one time. Maybe 2 of them say, I only like sweet stuff. And he's like, right, I've got you covered. We can give you like Samsara, Vinaya, 16, whatever. Plenty to choose from. And then you'll get the one person says, I'm only into peated stuff. It's like, right, we've got you covered as well.
There you go.
Alinta.
Problem solved.
So I pour the Alinta for that one person, and they'll turn around to their buddies and say, you know what? Even though you don't like peat,
you might
give this a go.
That's right.
So it has been a peated whiskey to sort of like convert some non-peated whiskey drinkers, rather than, say, for example, some of the Isla whiskies have got a bit of a reputation for like whacking you across the face with peat. This one's a little bit more gentle. It kind of walks up and it caresses your cheek with peat.
Right.
It's a little bit more softer, a little bit more gentle. I always get slagged off for saying caresses your face with peat, but it's a metaphor that works for me. Right. So I'm going to stick with it. Thank you very much. But yeah.
Oh, it's good. It's really good.
Yeah. What's your final thoughts on the Alinta there, Matt?
It's good. It's just a really nice, very super balanced, smoky scotch. But not like I said, none of them medicinal. It's just like bonfire smoke and sea salt.
Yeah.
It's just really, really nice. Eric's over there waiting for the 19. If you pour him some, he would be thrilled.
Yes, of course I can. Do you have a little glass there? 19. There we go, Eric.
He's over, please, sir, may I have
Spanish Oak and PX. I had to pull over.
Beautiful. Well, I hope it doesn't disappoint. I'm sure it won't.
Oh,
But
I've never missed it.
So Sugar Cookie says, I
Yeah.
bought a bottle of the Samsara once, and it keeps coming back and back and back. Imagine that. So it stays in your house and reproduces another one.
the Samsara.
Speaking of that, I might as well
yeah.
do that one.
I mean, I know we've went from peat to non-peated, but
we're professionals.
we
fine.
our palates can manage
Exactly.
that. So I never get bored of listening to.
Oh,
that
yeah, it's a
either.
great noise. Absolutely.
It's a great noise. Do you want a little bit
Yeah,
of
I'll
water
put a little
there,
water
just
with the
to
peat, yeah.
rinse it out a little bit. Now, I want to, like, whilst we're talking a little bit about the Samsara,
It's like it's reincarnated.
yeah, there we go. I want to tell you a little kind of unique story.
Okay.
Samsara here. This was the first Bladnoch of the new style bottles that
very
I ever
cool.
tasted.
Nice.
And I want to say it was maybe about 2018, 2019. And I was at my dad's local pub in Broughty Ferry in Dundee, Scotland. And so whenever me and my dad, I'm back in Scotland, and we'll go out, we'll maybe go for like a couple of pints first. And after we've got the couple of pints out the way and we've done our catch up, we will sort of like maybe go on to a half pint and a nip.
Okay.
So we'll get onto the whiskies, and the Royal Arch pub, they had a great selection of whiskies, and we went through a good few they were maybe familiar with, and then Ahmed, who was the barman at the time, we said, Ahmed, do you have any recommendations? And he said, guys, have you tried the Samsara before from Bladnoch? And I said, no, never. At that point, that was one of like my first kind of introductions to Bladnoch.
Oh, that's very cool.
And one thing that made me really kind of fall in love with it was the fact that subtle dryness at the back of the tongue, that red wine influence that you get, that I hadn't tasted too many whiskies that tasted like that. And it really, like, I know, like, when it comes to some of these whiskies, we talk about, oh, maybe that dryness, it certainly gives you a nice longevity. When it comes to the Samsara, I've got a different way of describing it. It stains your tongue with flavor.
There you go.
Yeah. And I love that. It is
delicious.
Yeah. So obviously the Samsara, this year's matured in a mixture of Californian red wine casks and ex-bourbon barrels. Red wine casks, kind of similar to what we have in the 8-year-olds, the Cab Sav and Zinfandel. It's got that balance of the bourbon influence in there as well. And so getting some of those kind of creamy vanilla fudge notes, maybe opening up into a little bit chocolatey, and then that subtle dryness with that red wine influence just at the back of the tongue. Oh, super
yummy. A lot of like vanilla bean and licorice.
Oh, yum.
Good.
And then we've not talked about the name.
Yes,
Samsara.
what does it mean?
What does it mean? So that's a good time to also bring back the Vinaya as well. So we've obviously talked how Alinta was Australian influenced. Now, David Pryor's father, he spent a lot of time growing up in India. And so wanted to, as I say, the sort of like the Scots Gaelic has been done before. We're wanting to go and bring something in that sort of like meant something to sort of like David and his family. And they've spent a lot of time in India, obviously, because his father spent a lot of time growing up there. And so these two, the names of these are Indian Sanskrit.
Oh, okay.
So
very cool.
The Vinaya, that means respect and gratitude.
Okay.
And the way that links into our distillery is when David bought the distillery, he bought it with so many barrels of whiskey in the warehouse from the previous owners. So it's kind of like respect and gratitude to those previous owners for that library of whiskey. that meant we were able to sort of like produce whiskey straight away.
Sure.
Because obviously we kind of like class ourselves as like a brand new 209-year-old distillery.
Yeah.
And unlike other brand new distilleries, we had liquid. So we were able
Right.
to, we didn't have to go down that gin route first.
Sure,
We were able
sure,
to
sure.
just go straight into creating whiskey. And Samsara, that name means rebirth.
Okay.
So almost like the rebirth of the distillery. And that can sort of like not just talk about David's time of being the new owner, but also we have had a few owners. And
Sure.
when we talk about the history of Bladnoch, some people will say that it's had a lot of owners. Is that a great thing? I was like, I actually want to talk about the resilience
Sure.
of the brand. It survived against all the odds.
Good point.
So I think you can maybe look at it the negative way. I want to look at it the positive way. I'm a kind
Sure.
of glass half full kind of guy. And so it's resilience. It's shown that Bladnoch name, the building, if you actually get to see the building, it's a beautiful building, sort of like a courtyard with a few sort of like old brick buildings all around it. And it's right on the River Bladnoch, where you've got the Bladnoch Bridge, Bladnoch Inn pub across the road, kind of trying to paint a picture for you guys.
That's cool.
So it's a beautiful place. And yeah, as I say, people have fallen in love with the brand of Bladnoch,
Absolutely.
the buildings. And that's meant that even though the distillery has been mothballed a couple of times,
Sure.
somebody has wanted to bring it back to life.
Right.
And when you sort of like taste the liquid, when you go and visit the building, and what's most important is the actual people that are there.
Absolutely.
The people are what make Bladnoch, because they're the ones that are getting their hands dirty, whether it's Callum, sort of like our distillery manager. Obviously there was Neil before. He's now moved to a different distillery in the Lowlands. Obviously Nick. Nick, he joined us in 2019, ex-Macallan.
Right.
So he had lots of experience, but it's not just those guys that sort of like get their hands dirty.
Sure.
It's everyone at the distillery.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like the people in the office, the visitor center, the sales team, the admin, the everyone. David Pryor himself, he gets his hands
Pretty
dirty.
cool.
He makes quite a few visits over to the distillery and
Awesome.
makes sure that it's running the way that he wants it. And
That's very cool.
I feel that it is. And
Yeah, it's great. It's like my first time ever having a knock was I had an old 1984 bottle. It was a 20-year distilled in 84, bottled in 04. Wish I brought it. It's at the house, unfortunately. I meant to bring it tonight, but I came straight from the office.
Yeah.
Next time you come back, I'll bring it to you.
Beautiful.
Well, this is awesome stuff. Anything else? What else do we know about Bladnoch? Are we pretty much at the end of the show? We got anything else to talk about?
I think, I mean, we've talked about all the ones that we had here originally, but I think because we kind of started a little bit talking about the 8-year-old,
Okay.
how about we have a little taste of the
17. We
17-year-old.
won't say no.
We finished with the 17.
Okay, that works for me.
One last dram for the road.
Works for me. I won't say no.
Stunning noise again. So, as I mentioned before, this one was just matured. We've got a fan over here. Eric, I hope you're enjoying.
Yes.
How's the 19?
I'm already figured out where I'm buying the bottle from.
I mean, I believe there might be a few people here tonight that actually have whiskey stores in and around town.
Andy has the 19 and buying it from him.
Yeah. So I won't let go of that, but I will hold on to it and just let you look at it. I had the slightly green label on there.
Yes.
17 years just matured in Californian red wine casks.
Yeah.
And as we mentioned before, it was sort of like the inspiration for the 8-year-old. And as it's the last dram of the evening, let's have a little sláinte there.
Yep, and Nick's on the bottom of that bottle too, so which is awesome. It's like,
Is that so? My finger? Yeah, you can see. Nick Savage signature on this one here. Trying to not get the glare of the screen.
There we go.
Beautiful. So yeah, this is just trying to see where the notes were, just to sort of like.
Yeah, it's one of the first. It might be on the box.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, 'cause that was probably the first Bladnoch I found that was a new Bladnoch when you guys were first come putting stuff out, and I was like, oh, I need this. Like I said, I had that old bottle that like the 80s, and so I was like, oh, finally found this one, and it's like, yeah,
Californian red wine finish, smooth, rich, and complex. Now this obviously this would have been released under our previous master distiller before Nick joined us, so that was Ian McMillan. So hand select every cask to bring together this rich, smooth expression, sweet, spicy, dried fruit finish, which
it's delightful.
I'm getting that.
I love it. It's great. So yeah, it's just like, so to have like the new version of Bladnoch was really great. And now come full circle to the brand new stuff you guys are putting out now.
Yeah.
The 8 and the 13 and 16. It's just it gets better and better.
And
it's all going to get better. That's the scary part about it.
Well, yeah.
I've not had the 30 year, but I'm sure you probably have.
I have, yes.
That is, he says, is Oloroso and Muscatel 2022. I assume that's pretty magical.
Yes, so it's Oloroso and it's Muscatel sherry rather than Muscatel wine.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it's really pretty stunning. Now, with most of our expressions, we have brought them down to 46.7.
Right.
With the age of the 30-year-old,
sure,
that one naturally came down over time to, I believe it's 45.5.
Okay.
It's 45 something.
That's the
I think it's
cash rate,
45.5. And that naturally came down to that strength on its own. And those the casks that we had for the 30-year-old, they're now running out.
Yeah,
so
I imagine.
We're going to be doing what we call the Sunset campaign for the 30-year-old, which will be like when the next 30-year-olds come out. That's going to be the last of it, I'm afraid, guys.
So I guess we're going to have to get a group of us together and buy a bottle. That's what it sounds like.
Now, I know that we are just one sort of like little plug whilst I'm here.
Yeah, this is like brand new to the US.
Yeah, so as I said, it is brand new to the US. This will be the first tasting tonight that we will be tasting of the
very cool
8-year-old. As I said, it's not in every area of the US at the moment. Maybe in a couple of weeks it will be.
Okay.
So next week I will be in New York at Copper and Oak, which is a whiskey bar on the Lower East Side. I've never been yet. I'm so looking forward to going there. I've heard great reviews of that whiskey bar. And I think it's Tomo, the guy that owns it there. So I'm looking forward to meeting him in person. I've only spoke to him online so far, and that'll kind of almost be the official launch of the 8-year-old.
That's very cool.
We're hoping that by then, all the states that have Bladnoch, they will now have the 8-year-old too. Cool. So that will be a super exciting time to give.
That's cool.
Give the 8-year-old a little bit of a launch whilst I'm here in the US,
cool.
And that will kind of be
exciting.
My little tour of the US kind of coming to an end.
That's cool.
Because I've seen so many places in the US I've never been to before.
Which is awesome.
It's just really cool. So kind of thanks to the US for having me. And as I say, the journey's not quite finished yet, but we're on our way.
Absolutely.
But I think that 17-year-old was a bit of a story.
Pretty great place to finish.
Kind of finish with, but yeah.
Yeah, I guess just a Daniel Wisdom. He said he had a whiskey class, I guess, in Victoria at the Victoria Whiskey Festival.
Oh, right. Yeah, nice. Lovely stuff.
All right. Well, I think we're gonna get ready. Got people showing up.
Perfect.
I know our beautiful caterers here with the Outpost 36. If you guys haven't been to his place out there in Keller, go check him out. Some of the best barbecue you'll ever have in your life. It's all his own cattle, so it is incredible stuff, which that beautiful cow will be eating some over here soon. So I can't wait to eat it. And thank you, Mark. This was fantastic.
Cheers.
Sláinte.
Thank you so
Appreciate
much.
it. Thanks, sir.
Thank you so much for having
And we'll
me.
have a great evening here as we go on.
Yeah, beautiful. Sláinte, guys.